Rivalry month is in full swing in Grand Forks, and we're breaking it all down on this week's edition of North Dakota Hockey Central, your television home for all things UND hockey. I'm Alex Heinert. Coming up, we will sit down with head coach Brad Berry to look back on an intense series with conference rivals Minnesota Duluth before previewing UND's next big test on the calendar, a date with the Minnesota Golden Gophers. We'll also help you get to know a freshman with a number of family ties to the program and set the scene around the rest of the NCHC for Thanksgiving weekends. But first, with the series with the Bulldogs still fresh in our minds, we've got to look back at the last encounter between UND and UMD, one of the greatest and the longest games in college hockey history. Last March, these two NCHC powers met in Fargo with a trip to the Frozen Four on the line. What ensued over the next 6.5 hours had to be seen to be believed.
That game was just an emotional roller coaster, I think, for a lot of us.
I just remember the guys just battling so hard the whole game.
It was back and forth, not a lot of time and space on the ice. Two tight checking teams, a hard physical game. I thought it was typical playoff hockey.
Bender sends it up top to Hunter Lelig. The shot on net, and it's in! Cole Koepke, here he is, one-on-one with Shield, in alone. Koepke shoots and scores! But wow, what a turn of events here, Dave, in this game in the third period. 2 quick goals.
There was no panic. No one was nervous. Everyone was ready to go. Everyone was excited. So, I think that's just how our team was all year.
It was a never say die attitude and I was really proud of our team as far as coming back on that side of it.
Sanderson now will change sides with Kirsten. Back to Pino, he takes the shot, but it's turned aside once again by States. Oh, it's in! North Dakota is on the board. It's now 2-1.
That one goes in, and then we're like, all right, we're doing this. There's no turning back.
He puts it across. Here's for Pinto. Pinto tries to get a shot. Backdoor! Oh my goodness! The captain for North Dakota has just tied this hockey game. Jordan Kawaguchi with the goal.
I blacked out. I can't remember too much of it, but that's something that you dream of when you're a kid.
They scored those 2 goals late. The momentum switched from us to North Dakota. I remember I was sitting next to Matt Cairns. After the third period, he came in and he's like, boys, it's free hockey.
And here we go the other way. It's Kobe Bender. Kobe Bender halts up, still has the puck, sends it across. Kobe runs and he scores!
They scored early on in the first overtime, and then it got called back. And then you go from, the season's over to, all right, we got to get back into this.
There was no doubt they were going to get it done again. I mean, as soon as they called it off, it was, all right, boys, settle back in here, do the same thing, we'll get it done.
And period 6 is in the books here at the Fargo Regional. Take a breath, everyone. It's still 2-2.
We're going into the third overtime period, and we're like, when is this going to end?
Just kept going on and on and on. It just felt like forever. And guys would say, yeah, we'll get him this period, boys, and then come back in and say it again. We'll get him this period. Just it was pretty funny.
When you get to the third and fourth overtime, fatigue is a big factor.
Yeah, he is totally cramped up.
So Ryan Fanti is coming in to this hockey game in the fourth overtime.
And we had guys in the locker room between overtimes, like the trainer would come in, hold their legs up, shake their legs out.
It was definitely hard on our bodies. We went through it, but like I said, it was nowhere else I would have rather been.
Positivity was a huge thing as far as, hey, we got this, and let's keep moving forward here. But I think it gave us a boost there because obviously, we did have some great opportunities throughout the 5 overtime periods.
This has been the ultimate game of inches.
Coach calls our name. I think that was our first shift in the 5th OT.
Here comes Minnesota Duluth.
I'm going against Bernard Dock. He's a great defenseman, and I was pretty far out, but he kind of closed the gap on me, so I just tried to shoot around him or shoot through him, and he just caught Shield off guard and went in.
They bring it on in, and he scores! Luke Mylymok inserted into the lineup. The freshman has ended it here.
I was like, there's no chance. Why me? It didn't really make any sense. I just kind of blacked out because I was just so excited to see the guys' emotions on their face after the win, just relief that it was over, and that we were the victors in that scenario was really cool to see.
Honestly, it just didn't feel real. that game just felt like it was never going to end, and then it kind of hit me, sitting on the bench there watching them celebrate a couple minutes after, and that's it. That's, the college career is over.
For us, I think there was kind of an empty feeling there. We had a really good team. We were #1 in the country.
I was definitely emotional afterwards. I look back at that game, and that was the most fun I had playing hockey. Just to be in that room, on the bench, on the ice with that group, and just battling away. Didn't matter. It was however long, 6 hours.
Obviously, to score a goal like that and then bring a program like this to the 4th consecutive Frozen Four was pretty special. No matter where I go, no matter what I do, it'll always be with me.
Thanks to Coach Barry, Jordan Kawaguchi, and Luke Mylymok for reliving that night for us, especially the former 2 contributors who each had a much more painful time reminiscing, more so than Luke did. When North Dakota and Minnesota Duluth get together, great games seem to follow, and that was the case again this weekend. We'll revisit that hotly contested series with the Bulldogs when North Dakota Hockey Central returns. Welcome back to North Dakota Hockey Central. Time now to head to Ralph Engelstad Arena to hear from UND coach Brad Barry after another big weekend for his program. Brad, thanks for being with us.
Yeah, thanks, Alex.
This past week, you hosted 4th-ranked Minnesota Duluth in another stern first-half test for your new-look squad. How did you and the team approach this series against the Bulldogs?
Well, coming off that 5 overtime game, and I know obviously we don't want to hear about that anymore, but going back to that 5 overtime game, how tight checking that was and how tough it was to score goals, and just remind our guys as far as it's going to be puck battles all night, trying to win possession of pucks, and then finally trying to get one past the goaltender. Fanti here. So, I thought our guys did a good job here, especially on Saturday night to get the win on Saturday. But knowing that you're playing Duluth, those are going to be hard, heavy series that there's not a lot of time and space out there.
Yeah, every time. Yeah, your team was missing a few key players for this series due to illness and injury. How did you see the team respond without Jake Sanderson, Matteo Costantini, among others?
Yeah, I thought they did a really good job. I know some guys that normally don't get those minutes or those opportunities, and especially team situations really stepped up for us, and it was great to see. And I thought Friday night we ran into some penalty trouble that didn't get those guys on the ice as much, but on Saturday night, with each team only taking a couple penalties each, it really gave an opportunity of 5-on-5 play, and guys like Cooper Moore stepping up, Brendan Booty, and Carson Albrecht and Griffin Ness, some of those guys that normally don't get those touches or minutes, I thought they did a good job for us on Saturday.
Friday night's game started well as you scored in the opening 3 minutes, but UMD seized momentum when penalties started to creep into your game.
Yeah, they did, and we addressed it on Saturday morning. In the first period on Friday night, we had a great start. The first probably 5 minutes and 30 seconds, we had every line out there at least one time. We generated offense. The Ascendant Jammernick Kane line scored us an early goal right away, and we were rolling. And then we took our first penalty, then we took our second, then we took our third, and then we took our fourth at the end of the first period. And that was a 5-minute major, so we had to kill the start of the second period, the 5-minute major, and got through it. But even though that it was only a 1-goal game at that time, or a pretty tight checking game, it empties a tank of a lot of those players that played both situations, power play and penalty kill, and we needed more discipline in our game, and that was talked about going into Saturday.
There were a few bright spots in game number 1, including your PK blanking UMD to start the second on that 5-minute major power play that you were talking about. That was an impressive stretch, especially as you were down a few of your normal penalty killers, Brad.
Yeah, for sure. And I think the biggest part was winning a draw, getting it down the ice, and then our neutral zone play against them of making them dump pucks in and us retrieving pucks and clearing pucks again. And I think, when your PK is rolling, it's when you don't give them any time or a lot of time in your end of the rink as far as setting up and making plays. But the other part for us is, when the puck's on your tape, you got to clear a puck. And I didn't think we did that really well, I guess, in the first opportunity when they scored against us.
In the end, you would fall 4-1 on Friday after UMD got a late empty netter, but you came back with a great response 24 hours later. How impressed were you with the grit your team showed to earn a result the following night?
Yeah, well, they battled up. Again, when you lose a game, especially at North Dakota, you lose a Friday night, it's always a tough day on Saturday with meetings and, everybody looking in the mirror, coaches included. We're in this together, and how do we as a group collectively have to be better from an individual standpoint and from a collective team standpoint? our guys looked in the mirror, and guys had to play harder. They had to play more committed, and they had to do their job. And I thought our guys really focused on that. And also to adding to the discipline side. That was addressed in a Saturday morning that I had with our players is, we want you to play hard, but you got to play hard, smart, and making sure that, you're aggressive and you're not, flying off on emotion, taking penalties one after the other.
Outside of that better discipline that your team displayed, what was different for your group from game 1 to game 2?
Yeah, just the sharp puck movement, as far as the execution side of it, of handling pucks. And I think the biggest thing with Duluth and how, I guess, aggressive they are in the neutral zone of stepping up and out and making you turn pucks over, of just getting it past their checking in the neutral zone and putting it past. And, we scored a couple of goals, the Booty goal on Saturday night, we got it by their defenseman, and Calder makes a great play to put it around, and Booty scores that goal. And, just situations where we advanced pucks and we were hard on pucks in the offensive zone.
Ethan Frisch got a critical power play goal just before time expired in the second to tie it up. Before, as you mentioned, Brendan Booty scored the game winner early in the third. How big of a goal could that be for Brendan after being banged up so much to start the year?
Yeah, it's a huge goal for him. Not only for him, but for our team. It's a situation, things haven't came easy for Brendan. He was injured, coming out of kind of our summer camp here a little bit, and then going into the fall, and he's banged up a little bit, and then finally trying to find his way. And the tough part is other players, when he was out, other players kind of filled a role that we thought he would be in right away, and now he's got to try to work from the ground up, trying to earn that ice time. And I think he's starting to do that for us here a little bit. So I got to hand it to him. He's sticking with it mentally and physically, and finding a way to get back to where he needs to be.
The Bulldogs were the 5th-ranked team you faced in the opening 7 weeks of the season. You got a few more top 10 tests to go before Christmas. What does a schedule like that do for your team, Brad?
Yeah, well, I think it obviously analytically it really builds you as far as a pairwise and beating teams that are in the top 10, and whether it's non-conference or conference play. But I think for us, it's the mental side of it, knowing that you're competing against top programs in the country and you're getting results from it. So it helps to build your group and know that you have to keep getting better each and every weekend, but knowing that you're playing the best of the best here early on here, and again, that's great to see.
Your next big challenge is already here as a top 10 Minnesota team comes to town Friday and Saturday. What stands out to you about the preseason Big Ten favorites this year?
Well, I think they have very good skill level. They always have very good skill level every year, and I think it's a situation, if you give a team like that a lot of time and space to make plays, they're going to make plays. And they're coming into the Ralph here, and we got to make sure that we play North Dakota hockey, our identity, and how we play the game. And in a situation where there's always a lot of storylines going into it as far as when Minnesota and North Dakota play, and we just have to handle it like it's a series that it's a non-conference series that we handle like an NCHC opponent, that we have to be hard and heavy, and we got to make sure that we play the way we want to, even respecting the way that they play, but we got to bring our identity to the game.
You've not faced the Gophers at home since 2017, meaning none of your current players have experienced a UND Minnesota series at the Ralph. How do you help them prepare for what's to come this weekend?
Well, I think you probably, have to, due to COVID last year, we were supposed to play them, we didn't get to play them. But going back a couple of years, we've got, Mark Senna and Gavin Hain that got, and a few other guys that got to be part of that group that went down to Minneapolis over Thanksgiving, and they had a little bit of taste of it back then in their building, albeit not here. So now we're back at the Ralph here, and I think it's a situation where, we'll talk about it a little bit and make sure that we have a great week of practice on what we have to build and grow here to have success over the course of the following weekend.
North Dakota versus Minnesota always produces moments that mean a little more to the players and the fan base. How much do you enjoy being a part of this rivalry?
Oh, love it, absolutely love it. Even though that I'm not a player, I can still go back to my playing days a long time ago, and going back to how intense the games were and how much it meant not only for the players but for the fans. And I know our fans love it as far as looking forward to this weekend. I know they circle it on their calendar, and again, I know our guys do too.
Yeah, we've certainly circled it on our calendars as well. Can't wait for Puck Drop Friday. Enjoy Thanksgiving with your family, Brad. Good luck this weekend.
Yeah, thanks, Alex. Have a great Thanksgiving.
Thank you. There's a few members of this year's UND roster that have taken in their share of UND Minnesota games, including one from Wisconsin with deep no-DAC ties. We'll get to know Jake Schmaltz when North Dakota Hockey Central returns. There are 9 new freshmen on this year's North Dakota hockey team, the most new first-year players in a generation. We're going to do our best to help you get to know each of them over the course of this season, beginning now with center Jake Schmaltz.
I'm Jake Schmaltz. I'm from McFarland, Wisconsin, and I'm a forward here at the University of North Dakota. It's about 10 minutes outside of Madison, Wisconsin. It's fun. I mean, Madison's a big town, so close to the city, a lot of good restaurants, a lot of things to do, but it's a fun little town, and we have a good time there. I mean, honestly, like being surrounded by a lot of Badger fans, I wasn't. I was honestly kind of a Sioux fan growing up, just having all my parents and everyone go here, so I've always been a North Dakota fan. I mean, my dad's from Bismarck and my mom's from Larimore, so they both went here, and my whole family's from North Dakota, so I think everyone's just been a Sioux fan and everyone's been a fan of North Dakota. I think the biggest thing is just enjoy it. I mean, it goes by quick, and it's just the best fan base, best place to play, and just soaking it in, working hard every day, that's all you can do, and just doing the best you can. Yeah, for sure. I mean, my dad played football here, and my mom went to school here, so it's always been a dream of mine, and finally being here, it's been a lot of fun so far. Probably my first year of juniors, just when our team won to go to the Clark Cup final. I thought that was a lot of fun, just to share that moment with the team. It's fun when the team wins because everyone's so happy, and I just remember everyone running back in the locker room and having such a good time that we're going to the finals, but that was probably the biggest moment. I feel like I've been a part of a lot of really good teams. I think the biggest thing is just when everyone buys into their role and everyone just plays a part, that's what makes winning teams, and I think that's what we got here in North Dakota right now. I think everyone's buying into their part, and we got a really good team this year, and I'm just excited to play my part and play whatever role they need me to play to win games and win a championship. I'm just a fun guy who just likes to laugh at a lot of stuff. I mean, I just like to have fun. I don't really know. I mean, just when any guys are just doing something stupid on the team, I mean, we got a lot of jokesters on the team. I mean, Ethan Frisch, I mean, he can do anything and make me laugh. I don't know if it's just his face or what, but guy can just make me laugh. So it's me, Luke Bast, Louis Jamernick, Nick Ports, and then on the other side of the house, it's Reese Gaber, Brendan Booty, Griffin Ness, and Cooper Moore. So there's 8 of us. Sometimes they can get a little messy, but it's a lot of fun. I mean, there's always something going on, so we definitely have a good time. I wouldn't say I'm the guy who cleans, but I definitely try to just help out. I know Luke Bast and Nick Ports are kind of the cleaners, so they're usually yelling at me to do something, so if I can just help them out. I mean, it can be schmaltzy, malts, I mean, anything. I've been called many things, so. I honestly don't think there's a bad nickname. I mean, any nickname is funny, so, I mean, I think Schmaltz, there's a lot of nicknames to go off of, so whatever works. I'm Jake Schmaltz. I'm from McFarland, Wisconsin, and I'm a forward here at the University of North Dakota.
Jake's already been a difference maker in the early stages of his UND career, beginning with a 3-goal, 4-point performance on opening weekend against Niagara that helped him earn NCHC Freshman of the Week honors. Schmaltz and his teammates now turn their attention to the biggest non-conference series of the year, one we will preview for you next on North Dakota Hockey Central. Time now to check in on the latest around college hockey, starting with this week's USCHO.com poll, where for the 3rd week in a row, there is a new number 1. Minnesota State is now the top team in the land after number 1 Michigan and number 2 St. Cloud State were both swept this past weekend. The Mavericks are 11-3 and have now won 5 straight. Half of the top 12 in this week's poll hail from the NCHC, and while those 6 are in the first 6 spots in the league table, the first 3 weekends of conference play have only reinforced the adage that no game in this league is easy. With that said, there are a few non-conference series for NCHC teams that you might consider less strenuous tests this weekend, as Western Michigan travels to St. Lawrence, Miami hosts Long Island, and Minnesota Duluth welcomes Alaska. The Saints, Sharks, and the Nooks have earned a total of 6 wins combined so far this season. The lone series that is anything but straightforward involving an NCHC side over Thanksgiving is the one in Grand Forks, as North Dakota renews the greatest rivalry in college hockey with old foe Minnesota. It's the first meeting between the two since 2019 and the Gophers' first trip to the Ralph since 2017, meaning there's some unknowns to add to the excitement this time around.
Obviously, it's a pretty historic rivalry. Our focus this weekend was not to look forward to that, focus on the weekend ahead of us. But now that's over, I think everybody's turned their mindset to that weekend.
We're excited to have them in our building. Obviously, a very heated rivalry, and we're excited to play the North Dakota-Minnesota hockey. I'm excited to see the fans in the building, and hopefully another great series.
Number 6 North Dakota, number 11 Minnesota. Our coverage from Ralph Engelstad Arena begins Friday with the pregame show at 6:45 p.m. and continues Saturday at 5:45. You can watch both games live on Midco Sports. Settle in for one of the best hockey weekends of the year, and then join us again next week to relive it on North Dakota Hockey Central. Until then, on behalf of our Midco Sports crew, I'm Alex Heinert. Thanks for watching. Happy Thanksgiving to you and yours, and I'll see you at the Ralph.